I apologize for my terrible attempt at doing The Price is Right ending.
I might be using that as the theme song. Hey there!
Hey. Oh, this is going to be a somber episode.
So terrorists?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. I have no idea when I'm going to bother compiling the pre-show segments. I'm sorry. So
do you want to discuss this as part of the proper episode, or do you want to discuss this as pre-episode stuff that probably won't get aired?
Show proper. Because if you want to say something topical about it, or if we just want to talk about,
it's going to be tough because apparently there were 2 terrorist attacks. I'm getting breaking news of another one about targeting a Hispanic women's clinic in Houston on top of the Southern California attacks.
Yes, I've heard about the abortion clinic that was shot up.
A few days ago, you mean?
Yes.
Planned Parenthood?
Yes.
No, there was another one today.
Great.
On top of a facility for catering to the neurotypical with neurotypical disorders being targeted.
Ew, that's just this is just.
There were 3 gunmen in that one. They've managed to kill 2. They got away first. They've managed to get 2 of them now, but one's still at large. But yeah,
What is wrong with humans? What is wrong with humans?
That actually, I went on a Twitter thing about it. So yeah, I'm kind of shell shocked because I just got up like an hour ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I literally just got home from Walmart just now to pick up.
I just got up an hour ago and I came down and we're talking about another 12 dead, and that's not even including the one at the health clinic in Houston that was attacked today. That's not even including that.
And I'm just eating corn chips.
This is all.
I feel weird.
Right, but and they're talking about today. Oh, this doesn't look like a terrorist attack. This doesn't look like the attacks that have been the other white terrorism that we've been seeing in recent months. And it's like, really? Because this all looks like what I was predicting months ago.
Oh,
with the rise of Donald Trump.
They specifically referenced what? They specifically referenced white terrorists.
No, they didn't. I'm paraphrasing a bit.
Right, yes.
Because
I was expecting you to just say terrorist, and I was gonna be all like, well, of course it doesn't, because these guys were white.
No, we're talking about the more recent shootings involving white people. Is basically what they're talking about. They're saying it's not, and it's like, actually, yeah,
it is
because this I predicted all of this happening months ago because Donald Trump is fucking Hitler, and he's validating all these white supremacists, all these neo-Nazis, and that's why we've seen a huge uptake in the number of white terrorist attacks in recent months. I
am just so surprised that there's actually a guy that is literally Hitler now. How did we get to this point? How?
Well, it's not terribly surprising. I mean, in the first place, the Republican Party has been completely fascist for years now.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I don't want it to be completely unsurprising. I don't want.
Well, yeah, that's.
I don't want this to be the world we live in. I don't want to.
Well, that's the thing. Hitler wasn't a surprise either. Hitler, the catering to the white supremacists in Germany had been happening for over a decade before Hitler's rise to power, and that's what we're seeing here again, as we have this guy who wants to who.
Yeah, it's a common saying in time travel scenarios that you can't go back in time and kill Hitler, because even if you could, you probably wouldn't be able to. But even if you could, Hitler was inevitable. He would have just happened anyway.
And you have no idea what the consequences of doing that would involve.
Yeah, so basically, if we just went and killed Hitler, then we'd still have Hitler. We just called him Schnitzel or something. I'm trying to. What's the goofiest sounding thing that I can say without being racist to Germans? Is that even a thing?
No, it's not.
Let's even stop. Let's move away from that subject of discussion and do you still want to talk about terrorism, or should we move on?
Yeah, we should probably move on.
Yes.
You want to start the show?
Time Cats, go! Zombie Time season finale. Next week is just regular Time Cats. Because this is the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead. And,
yes, it is. And
it was a pretty intense one.
Yeah, it was. Alexandria is falling.
It wasn't necessarily as intense as previous season finales have been, but it was certainly a good season finale.
Well, it's a mid-season finale. It's not the full season's finale. It's the mid-season finale.
I don't really notice a difference. So when I say season finale, I tend to mean both. But yeah,
the mid-season finales have included them being forced to flee the prison after the governor's attacks, and also that
this was also a settlement having to be fled because of a human villain attacked. And the more things change.
Where they went and confronted that hospital, and the people at the hospital was also another mid-season finale. And when the people at the hospital initially kidnapped that
Beth,
that was also a mid-season finale. So again, yeah, those were the past 3 mid-season finales. So yeah, mid-season finales tend to be, but this was not. This one was similarly epic. They're once again leaving. They seem to be having to leave their home.
It was epic and intense in a very as you put it, somber way. It's very.
I don't think I said somber.
You said somber about the show, about this tonight's podcast in general, but like the episode, like it had intense moments, but more subdued than previous, because I think only one major character died this time.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope my roommate can't hear me, because this is spoilers for the show. I mean, frankly, the previous episode was a bit more intense. Because wait, was it? I don't remember.
This one was I don't know. This one was pretty intense. Having some, although there wasn't as much action as there was, it wasn't in action intensity. It was more of like a lingering fear and dread kind of intensity. But this episode was still intense.
You know what? I just realized I haven't actually watched all of The Talking Dead for this week, so I don't know. I got to the point where Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead, said that it was the right decision to kill off Deanna right in front of her actress. It was pretty funny. And then yesterday happened, and I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, yes. So this was a nice episode. This was a good, and there was a post-credits sequence, a sequence that aired after the credits.
Yeah, I actually managed to miss that, but I caught it online.
Yes,
because,
I was able to
because during the credits I was trying to look because again this whole plan to not have the Talking Dead come on right after. I'm not liking it. That means I've been missing the Talking Dead because I have no interest in the show after, and 2, that means I'm in a rush to change the channel before the next show comes on. So I completely missed the fact that there was a post credits thing. Because the Talking Dead wasn't the show that was coming on afterwards.
Yes.
So I did watch it, and
thankfully,
can I break the news?
Sure.
That was pretty big because it announces the arrival of a big character from the comic book.
I believe I already referenced him on the podcast.
Yeah, we both have.
Yeah, they announced that the man who murdered Batman in the comics is coming to the. Wait, so now that Glenn is alive, should I stop doing the joke? Was the Batman thing ever funny to begin with?
No, it really was. I think the first time you said it, yeah, the first time it was the first time, but after that, no.
I like to commit to my jokes. I like to commit to my jokes until they stop being jokes and they're just things that are happening, and that. In the long run, that makes things funnier if they stop being funny. It's complicated.
It's sad, Conan.
But everything about my personality can just basically be summed up as I play Exodia Stall in Yu-Gi-Oh. That's it. That's all you need to know. It's just
Stall, yeah.
No, not just Stall. Exodia Stall.
So stalling, waiting for that big moment.
Yeah, I've mostly been dueling a computer using a Dragon Ruler deck that won WCS 2014, and that deck, once the deck gets down to like about 20 cards, the duel's pretty much over at that point because that deck runs out of cards that can be played. So I actually managed to win the duel without Exodia because the opponent decks out. Anyway, that was me talking about card games again, and I apologize to both our listeners and my Facebook followers and Twitter followers and literally everybody about how much I talk about this franchise. It's just I'm literally putting together a spreadsheet of over 900 cards.
I have no problem with you talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, but if you want to apologize to me, you can apologize for not focusing on 5Ds.
Yes, I do apologize for that. Frankly, most of my attention has been devoted to the original series and Arc V, the current series, because it's just so meta. It's just so meta. Seriously, it's about a circus performer that plays card games to entertain an audience. Holy shit, that's meta. And anyway.
But yeah, we should probably get back to talking about Walking Dead though, and Doctor Who.
Yes, I think we said everything I think we said everything that needs to be said about Walking Dead.
No, we haven't actually.
Oh, thank God, because it's over now. It's over at this point for a couple months. So like we have to talk about more. There's got to be more.
This episode really left on a cliffhanger because we've got Rick and the company trying to sneak out once again, dressed up in zombie guts, and
they really do like doing that, don't they? On this show.
And while they're doing that, the kid is starting to freak out, and so we're left with a big question mark. Is that kid going to get more of that group killed? Are we going to come back to after the mid-season finale to a slaughter?
In as much of the Talking Dead as I did see, they did reference how that kid is more likely to get the group killed than Judith, the screaming baby, because
if Judith was to start screaming, that would get the group killed too.
That baby has been trained very well because she doesn't scream all the time anymore. Usually when you bring a baby to just a to just like a restaurant or something, or they will cry nonstop forever and ever and ever and ever until the end of time, which is confusing because they're not babies until the end of time. But yeah, I guess in a zombie apocalypse, babies learn that they're not just gonna make their parents mad at them; they're gonna die if they do that. So like, shut up. Does that mean telling a baby to shut up sounds mean?
Well, there have been a lot of depictions of time. There have been a lot of depictions. Trigger warning for infanticide.
Infanticide, yes.
But yeah, there have been often in depictions of things like that where they're trying to from any kind of thing, from zombies to enemy soldiers, and the baby starts crying. There have been a lot of scenes in media where I'm not sure a lot, but there have been scenes in the media that I've seen where the mother attempts to silence the baby and winds up suffocating them to death, trying to keep the baby quiet.
It would certainly be nice if people stopped using babies as short
like
as
yeah.
as like
I'm very glad we haven't had a scene like that in The Walking Dead. It's always
good baby.
But the problem that's been the scene about the kid is of course the amount of people I've seen that want to say they want to kill that kid now, and it's like,
yeah,
don't blame the kid. I mean, the kid's
don't blame the child, blame the parents.
Well, in this case, you don't even blame the parents. I mean, it's it's not the parents' fault that the world has become what it is.
It is actually the child's like his dad's fault, because his dad was a dick and probably didn't teach the child to maybe not do this thing that he's doing now.
Well, what the kid's doing now isn't necessarily a behavioral problem. What's going on is the fact that the kid is terrified. But anyway, yeah, it was a traumatic experience that the kid went through. He was these wolves came up here and came up in the town, and I don't know, did the kid also witness the wolf trying to kill his mother?
No.
That was the other kid.
It's no, yeah, that was the other kid. It seems like It seems like this kid is actually mostly scared of Rick, because every time he looked at Rick throughout the episode, we saw a point of view shot where like there's like this
Yeah, he seems to be.
there's like this tone playing
And focusing on Rick. Yeah, but this was also the kid that was initially bothering Carol earlier in the season, wasn't it?
Possibly. Okay, yeah. This kid's.
I mean, not earlier this season. I mean, last season. No, this was the kid.
No, yeah. If this is that kid, then yeah, he's definitely fucked up. That was a chilling scene, and I could imagine then that the child would be upset.
Yeah, the everything that's happening between the wolves and the zombies. I mean, I mean, this is a young kid. The fact that this is happening now that the kids are speaking out, it isn't surprising, because you could kind of see that coming because unfortunately the group and the mom had a lot to process on the plate, but I could tell that it was going to be an issue, because basically the kid's having a meltdown. I mean, he's having a massive panic attack, first with the way everything becomes.
This
and then how he keeps on talking about he's scared. I mean, he when the kid's there at the end saying mommy, that's not something that he's able to help.
Yeah, the people who are negatively responding to the child's actions are basically looking at this as the perspective of, well, there are like zombies everywhere. This is basically just Tuesday for us. It's not just Tuesday for this kid. It's like Monday. The kids just got the weekend's over, and now the kid's got to go back to work at the zombie farm.
Well, this whole thing is, the whole situation is there.
Like the Alexandrites. Yeah,
the kid is traumatized.
The Alexandrites have not experienced this level of zombie shit. And this is a child, so anybody would be upset in this situation, especially the people who are negatively reacting to. I keep saying the child because I don't know his name. I'm gonna look up what his name is.
But between the trauma of this whole situation and everything that's happening, it's on the one hand, and on the other hand, the kid might get the group killed, but I don't particularly like it when I see people saying I want to kill that kid, because it's like,
everyone just calm down and remember, Carl was worse than that kid, and now he's awesome.
I mean, if you want to understand a kid that you should be mad at, you should be mad at his brother. What his brother did was completely unacceptable. I mean, and not to mention the fact that had the brother not done that and caused all the zombies to get into the house, they might not be in this position right now anyway.
Sam, his name is Sam.
So if there's someone you want to be angry at, you can be angry at the brother who acted out of jealousy, and I think it's partly out of jealousy. I mean, the kid has seemed now for a while, even beforehand, like he's been plotting against
Ron. I mean, no,
Carl.
Yeah, Carl.
Over the girl that left.
Enid, yes. Ron apparently took the shooting lessons from Rick just so he could shoot Rick's son. I don't. This is the kid people.
It's jealousy. He's extremely jealous. He blames Carl for Enid leaving, which is ridiculous.
Enid.
He didn't even really know or understand Enid.
Enid. With a D, yes.
Enid. Okay.
Yeah,
Enid.
She has the D in her name. She has the D.
So Enid.
That was our obligatory D joke.
Yeah. Okay. Enid, Enid was I mean, he's again. It's the typical bullshit you see in everyday life about some asshole getting jealous and stuff, without even really having really understood or known. He kind of viewed Edith as his Enid as his territory. And the fact of the matter is, he didn't even know her, and that's bullshit anyway. But he didn't know her. He just kind of saw her as as property. And
for all of our conversation about infanticide and how children shouldn't be used as a plot device. I when that little girl was like feeding the zombies in that prison, I fully thought, okay, this girl's going to be the villain. This girl's going to be the central leading series villain after the governor. I want this. I want this show to have a villain, to have a child character for the villain. No, we didn't get that. Ron, we could still get that with Ron. He seems to be just competent enough that he could break shit.
He seems like the kind of person who'd be swayed by Negan. To be honest, I've read about Negan. For people who haven't read the comics, I'm not going to spoil what Negan does if you haven't read the comics and if it has a lot more parallels to the show. But let's just say that well, I guess I am kind of spoiling by suggesting that there is Sideko. But basically, he does seem like the kind of person who might be seduced over to Negan's side.
I've already kind of spoiled it with my Batman jokes. What Negan does, but yes.
Well, that's I've spoiled it more because it's more than just because he does more than just killing.
Yes. Also, the actor cast to play Negan is named Jeffrey Dean Morgan. For anyone who's interested in that.
Do you have what else he has been in?
Nope. I'm gonna look that up now.
Because for me, that name means nothing to me. What if you say, "Oh, he played such and such and such and such"? Oh yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah. Jackson Lake, the actor who played the governor, played the next Doctor.
But what?
Oh wait, the actor's name is David Morrissey. I used his Doctor Who character name. He played the actor on that 10th Doctor special where he encountered a future incarnation of himself. Was that the 10th Doctor or Matt Smith's Doctor?
No, that was the 10th. Oh, so he played the person who thought he was the Doctor. But
yes,
wasn't.
The Doctor, for the first time in the show's history, met somebody he thought may be a future incarnation of himself. It wasn't. It was just a guy who thought he was the Doctor.
Because he had his memory scrambled with the Doctors. But
yep.
But who was I did not know that. That's new from news.
So yes, David.
There's your Doctor Who Walking Dead crossover.
So yes,
thank you. Thank you. We've done our job. Goodbye, everybody.
Yes.
I apologize for my terrible attempt at doing the Price is Right ending.
I might be using that as the theme song. Anyway, yes. So the governor's actor David Morrissey played the actor in the 10th Doctor special where.
But what about Negan's actor?
Negan's actor. Yes.
That's one who I'm asking about.
Let's see. He played the comedian in the Watchmen movie.
I didn't watch it. I haven't seen that. Do you have any other references? Does he have any others in his filmography?
Oh my god!
What?
He played Batman's dad. He's playing Batman's dad in Batman v Superman. Oh my god!
Oh god, the crossover is complete, Glenny.
I've been joking this whole time that this guy is playing the guy who kills Batman's dad, and now he's actually playing Batman's dad.
So I think that we can confirm. I think this accidental
I am so happy.
Everything fitting together in a weird puzzle confirms that in the Walking Dead universe, their Batman comics, Batman's dad was a villain. This is now confirmed. Yes.
There was a comic book arc in the comic books where Batman's mother was the Joker.
Interesting.
Yes.
But in the Walking Dead series, because the Walking Dead series is a similar timeline to our own, but that one that didn't have zombie movies or anything like that. But in the Walking Dead universe's DC universe, their DC universe comics have instead of Batman being traumatized by his parents' death, he's traumatized by his father being an evil villain. This is now confirmed because of Josie Silva.
I'm just so happy.
This is confirmed.
This coincidence.
We are breaking new ground right here.
I genuinely had no idea this guy was going to be playing Thomas Wayne. I had no idea.
This is the first time. This is the first time I think we've ever had a serious discussion about what the DC Comics universe is like in the Walking Dead universe. I don't know. I don't know if there's
frankly,
we need
frankly,
Chris Hardwick here.
I
We need Chris Hardwick here to discuss the implications of this.
frankly, I am interested in the celebrity paradoxes of things like this. Like, what was the history of the stage play Wicked like in the Glee universe? What and in The Walking Dead they referenced the Valve video game, but they referenced Portal for some reason because they wanted to reference Left 4 Dead, but Left 4 Dead was a zombie game and zombies don't exist in the fiction of the Walking Dead universe.
Correct.
Which means, like, technically they could have gotten away with referencing Half-Life because those aren't technically zombies. But I guess Strangely, in the Walking Dead video game continuity, it seems that zombies did exist in fiction, but they just weren't as well known as they are in our reality.
Well, here's the thing: in the Walking Dead universe, there is a concept of zombies, but the concept remained with the kind of with the voodoo type, and not the kind that came on to be popularized.
Okay, so basically, The Walking Dead takes place in a universe where Romero invented hoverboards instead of zombies.
I thought you were going to for a moment there. I thought you were going to say that it took place in a world where Marty and Doc went back in time and killed George A. Romero or something. And because
Marty, it's your kids, Marty. We gotta go kill George Romero.
and so because George Romero never made the movie, zombies became real.
How is my Doc Brown impression? Terrible. Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Wow, George A. Romero looks a lot like Colonel Sanders. I just looked him up on Wikipedia. Also, he's still alive. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, he's still making movies.
Wow, I did not know that either. All right. Well, you talk about whatever you want. I'm looking this up.
So anyway, let's get in now. Obviously, this was the mid.
Wait! I just remembered. I did have a notes about The Walking Dead. I didn't take a lot of notes about Walking Dead. Most of my notes are about Doctor Who because this week's episode of Doctor Who is my favorite episode of the entire series. But this one note here, I wrote a joke quote that I would imagine Ron saying, because okay, so while he was wrestling with Carl, he said, "You're just gonna get more people killed," and then immediately broke something and let a bunch of zombies into the room. You're gonna get more people killed. Let me just let these zombies in for you.
Yeah, that's the thing is again he's thinking of Enid. He blames Carl for Enid's departure, probably because again he didn't know anything about Enid. Carl knew more, had more understanding of Enid than this kid did.
Okay,
and,
right now at this very moment in time, Glenn has more understanding of Enid than this kid does.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, I think Judith understands Enid more than this kid. I think a bag of rocks understands Enid more than this kid does.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting matter because that's how he's basically viewing Enid as a bag of rocks, of his bag of rocks, and it's but yeah, it's the whole situation is and yeah, it's not. I'm just rambling now. Okay, I think it's time to we go on to Doctor Who.
I might finally go and give the episodes unique titles, and I might title this episode "Enid's Bag of Rocks."
Enid is not a bag of rocks.
Ron's bag of rocks.
No. Don't imply that she's an object.
Enid is not a bag of rocks. So, Doctor Who, this was my favorite episode ever. This was my favorite episode of the entire show. I was fully expecting to hate it. I was fully expecting it to be as terrible as the last gimmick episode, but this episode was fantastic. Every moment of it up until the ending. Like,
yeah, the ending. Yeah, the episode was.
I
can't separate the rest of the episode. That ending.
Just before the episode ended, I was about to just go to Facebook and say, to hell with the podcast, and just post what I thought about it right then and there, because the episode was so amazing. It inspired me personally to live my life like that, because of this. I used it. I told my therapist today. Because I went to psychiatry stuff today. I told our psychiatrist about this episode, like, the episode is caught, the Doctor is caught in kind of like a time loop, like, time moves around him, but not for him, and he's alone, and no one's coming to save him, and he knows it, just before he's about to die, he knows he's caught in a time loop, and it will never end. But, he has a plan, and it's a good plan. He's going to punch a wall.
A diamond wall.
A diamond wall. It seemed like about 3 times every cycle, and in every cycle, he says to himself how long it looks, because he can look up at the stars and tell you how long it's been since the last time he looked at the stars. It's like, if I didn't know better, I'd say it's 7,000 years after I left. But I can feel time travel. It doesn't feel like I've time traveled. What's going on? And every time the cycle repeats, he looks up the sky and he says a progressively larger number. And
the last one he says is 2 billion.
By 2 billion, he punches this wall and it actually breaks because it's just worn down so much.
I think it was the time after he said 2 billion. So I'm thinking it's sometime more than 2 billion years into the future of him doing this again and again.
Yeah, and like he figures out that the way out of this is to punch this wall, because just before he dies on each time loop, he writes out the word bird, and using this Doctor's weird ass Batman crazy logic. I said crazy. I meant to not say. It's
to remind him of Clara.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, he sees this. It says bird, and it reminds him. Oh yeah, there's that bird that pecked at that mountain for 1,000 years, and then the mountain blew up.
Well,
I got a story for you. There's the story of a bird, and it pecked out a wall, and eventually the wall fell. That's one hell of a bird.
Why are you doing your Joey voice there?
Was I?
Yeah, I thought you were trying to do Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh.
No. Okay, hold on. Let me open up Miyotoka's Yu-Gi-Oh wiki page so I can try to get into character for this. Let's see.
Because they use that Brooklyn accent type of thing.
So, for a Legendary Collection for Joey's World, they released a bunch of normal monsters that had
the Brooklyn style.
Yes, they hadn't
Joey's kind of linguistic on it.
See,
and that's what you were sounding like.
See, Konami doesn't like releasing the normal monsters that they skipped over in the printing process because nobody will want them. But here they got an inspiration, because I actually wanted these normal monsters more than the other cards in the set when I bought mine. I was disappointed that I didn't pull any of them. But anyway, so Miyotoka, this big old guy with a big old eye shoots a nasty ray beam right at ya. I think that was wrong. That Joey accent didn't work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the whole. Honestly, I thought the bird thing, when he freezes up when he reads bird, it reminds him of that Clara died from a raven.
Yes, when he first sees it, it's definitely about Clara, but eventually he remembers about this story with the Bird Mountain thing.
But also, yeah.
So I have it
with the pain of what Clara would do, and Clara wouldn't want him to give in.
I have a reference to the Raven in my notes here, and I think we should mention this. So what if Yatagarasu, the Yu-Gi-Oh card, is the Quantum Shade?
We apologize to anyone for that, with botching that pronunciation entirely.
I'm sorry. That's how I've heard it. I apologize.
I don't know. Maybe you got. I have no idea if you got it right or not. But I'm just going to assume that we're botching.
I feel like it's been in the anime, or maybe I have this friend who is really big into the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene, and he talks about this card a lot, or at least he did at one point. I don't.
It's that Raven card.
It's Spirit monster, right? It's a Raven Spirit monster. It's currently on the tournament ban list because it can be it's actually one of the most devastating lockdown cards that Konami's ever printed. This card cannot be special summoned. This card returns to its owner's hand during the end phase of the turn. It is normal summoned or flipped face up. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, they skip their next draw phase.
So it is kind of, and that's kind of what happened to the Doctor. The Doctor skipped his next draw phase for the next 3 billion years
because of a bird, and that's what made me think, the effect of Spirit monsters is kind of quantum, and like it's got some quantum effects on its artwork there, and so what if this monster is the Quantum Shade? Okay, yeah, it was in the anime. Noah used it,
Oh
which
yeah.
means I must have heard it pronounced that way. Yes.
Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean it was pronounced correctly in the anime either.
Um.
That's not a guarantee.
Yes. Yeah. So there were several words that they haven't pronounced right, and even so, the English localization team doesn't seem to understand that Japanese is a language. Um. It's really weird. Okay, so Konami is actually handling the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise with much more respect than every one of their other franchises combined. But there's
Which is saying
which is
something.
saying something because Yu-Gi-Oh they've been making a lot of really bad decisions with Yu-Gi-Oh. I think for the most part they're actually
But
doing.
they're still better than this decision they've made with every other franchise
Yes,
of their
they have just
films.
been being they've just been just ruining.
Because Konami is Konami, and
I
Konami is the
I,
worst.
I was fully okay with this company just falling under until I remembered I loved Yu-Gi-Oh as much as I do because this is one of the franchises that if it ended I would be upset. If this is the thing, and I don't want Konami to fuck themselves into oblivion. I want them to get their heads out of their asses and stick around for as long as possible because I love this franchise. It is important to me. Konami, I want you to stop being Konami. Please, just get your heads out. Because if Konami goes under and the Yu-Gi-Oh and the rights to Yu-Gi-Oh go to someone else, because of course they will.
Konami isn't likely to go under though.
Yes,
Konami is
Konami publishes the card game and the video games. Shonen Jump is the owner of the franchise. In addition to the Nihon Ad Service, the animators. In addition, I think Kazuki Takahashi has enough of the rights his owned himself proprietarily that Yu-Gi-Oh will definitely live on without Konami. But the
But Konami doesn't seem to be in financial straits though. I mean, Konami is dealing with some.
I guarantee you that if they keep on doing what they've been doing, they will go under maybe in the next decade or so.
I don't know. Konami. That's the thing. Konami is not just a video game company,
I am aware they do a lot of things.
and what they seem to be doing is they seem to be abandoning the video game portion of their of their businesses and going more towards pachinko machines.
I'm just
However,
utterly terrified at the concept of this of a company that deserves to die actually dying and be the one company that does like this that I don't want to die. Because Konami at this point does deserve to go bankrupt. They deserve it at this point, but I don't want them to, and it might actually happen for once because I don't want it to happen this time.
yeah, but yeah, as you said, the Yu-Gi-Oh would live on
Yes, but see the
because.
thing is the entire card game would need to be restarted from the ground up because Konami's big ass logo is on all of the cards, is on the backing of the cards.
But actually, that wouldn't be as much of the problem. The existing cards would exist, and if they reprinted any of the cards, they'd reprint them with whatever new company's logo it comes up on it. That
Yes,
wouldn't be
but
that
then I
huge.
need to replace all 3,000 cards I have.
Except the old ones would probably still be
Oh
viable
yeah, the old
for.
one. Well, see the thing is that with all the changes that have happened to Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards in over time, the card backing has always stayed the same. It's always stayed the same because the backing
Oh,
of the card is the important part. The front of the card can be changed however much you want. Konami has changed
the back of the card has Konami's
the
logo.
back
Oh,
yeah that's actually been one of the biggest pieces of confusion I've had because Konami was not the English publishers of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game for the longest time. It was Upper Deck Entertainment, and their logo is nowhere on the card. So I was a bit confused why Konami's logo was on it. But see, the back of the card is the important part. You cannot fuck with the back of the trading card because yeah.
because you'd be able to tell what's.
So if Konami goes under 60,000 cards, I may be getting the number 21,000. It's closer to 21,000. 21,000 cards will no longer be viable for the next iteration of the card game. I don't want this. I want Konami to just get their heads out of their asses because I just know.
Why can I not find a picture of the back of a Yu-Gi-Oh card
Oh
anywhere?
wow, really?
What do I have to? What do I, have to, I can find the anime one.
I'm
Fine, but
getting it. Hold on.
I can't seem to find.
It's already started. It's already. Oh wow. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, or Zeal, or however it's pronounced. Its card background, its card backing is actually the most accurate the show's gotten. It's pretty neat.
So I'm not saying so they the Japanese one has so the American one has the
Wait. Yeah, okay. It's not as big as I thought it was, but Konami's logo is in the upper left-hand corner. Yes. So yeah, if that wasn't on there, then there would be hope. Then there would be hope for the Yu-Gi-Oh card game without Konami.
That is thing because they'd have to but on the other hand on the other hand, if Konami, it would depend on if Konami went under, like completely went under. Obviously, whoever bought the card games right would buy the rights to use would buy the rights to have a part of the division still be called Konami. I
wouldn't be so sure, but I hope so. I really do, because if worse comes to worst and Konami really does go under, hopefully I'll be able to just buy it up by then, because fuck, I'll invest in that if I need to.
But yeah,
like I'm guessing
any cards with the Konami logo, if Konami no longer made them and they couldn't put.
I'm guessing if Konami does go bankrupt, it'll be in a long time when I'll already be like making shit with my life and have enough money to just buy the rights to a company.
But yeah.
Okay, you know what? Now I'm looking forward to the idea of Konami going under. I want to be in charge of this card game. Legendary Collection Tristan's World. All of the normal monsters we missed. And the promo.
Talking about Doctor Who.
Sorry. I meant to not have too many digressions in this show, but here I am.
Talking about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Sorry, it's just that this.
Believing in Nexus.
Right. Okay. So this episode, I had a lot of notes here about Clara. Ironically.
I actually was not too thrilled with this episode. It was
really? Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't terrible. And some of the effects were. But overall, and also I didn't help that. I did predict the ending, however.
That you did?
I want to not on the show, but I'd actually I can't verify it, but actually I was talking a bit.
No, that's
before the show started. I was talking about how how the whole thing might be how this whole thing this could actually all be because I was talking about how with the because I've been talking about this episode it being the penultimate episode of the season, and how you
are right. You are right.
Stephen Moffat was talking about the Christmas episode. He was talking about how he thought that might be the last episode he was doing, and so therefore, with the whole continuing the whole plot that he began on the 50th anniversary with the return of Gallifrey. That might mean he thought he might have had to bring some closure to it here. So I was suggesting that this whole thing might actually have to do with Gallifrey, and it turns out at the end of it, where does he wind up? Gallifrey.
The ending of this episode was, I came to the conclusion that it probably works, but I cannot for the life of me wrap my head around how. It's just.
Oh, I can tell you how this.
Okay,
happens.
so the ending was this whole time. The Doctor was trapped inside his confession dial, which is now on Gallifrey at this 2 billion years later somehow.
Well, we don't know when it is, because he wasn't looking at the actual stars. I don't think he was looking at the.
No, he was looking at the stars. The
Shh. Hold on a sec. Shh. Just go. But the stars did look funny in the episode too. The whole sky looked like it had a yellow tinge to it, so I was wondering if he was trapped in something.
Yeah, frankly, not.
He wasn't trapped in the.
It seemed like it was actually open the whole time, which means that the weird lighting was actually Gallifrey's lighting the whole time, which makes sense because days on Gallifrey have a bluish tint and nights have a reddish tint.
Well, he was probably looking for the force field of the.
Okay, so basically, Gallifrey in the classic series was always shown as being very Earth-like, but in the modern series, Gallifrey has been shown to have a more orangish-reddish tint, and it is just my headcanon that that's just the day-night cycle.
But the whole thing is you have to remember when the Doctor talked about his confession dial on the last episode, he mentioned the fact that he doesn't actually know what's in the confession dial, and
that is
confession dial
definitely fair enough.
Is something that first came up,
but see the thing that
this season, and
the thing that confuses me because of my theory as to how time travel works in Doctor Who is I can't imagine how the confession dial would have gotten on Gallifrey because the whole thing was this whole thing was orchestrated by people by Gallifrey, by Time Lords. But how?
Who gave the Doctor that confession dial in the first place?
Oh.
Forget what they said. Who was the first one to seem to have the confession dial?
Misty?
Yes. And what's one thing we don't know about what's about well, there's a lot of
we don't know
what's one thing that we really don't know?
We don't know how the Master escaped.
Yeah, we don't know how Misty got off of Gallifrey. And
okay, so the one thing we can really be certain is that Gallifrey is probably still in a time lock of some sort,
or condensed like soup, like a cup of soup in a
basically the only thing we know for certain is that Time Lord Society is still restricted in their capacity to travel through time. That's all we can really be certain.
And this whole trap was probably meant to free them.
But see, the thing is that the way time travel works in Doctor Who is that events don't happen in the future until the Doctor has already done them and through his own perspective, which means Gallifrey should be still trapped because the Doctor wasn't there to untrap it. But
yeah, but
and there have been occasions where stuff that the Doctor hadn't already done yet just sort of happens. But like,
well, he met Clara. Well, keep in mind that he met Clara again because of Missy.
Right.
So remember, there's an entire paradox here where the Doctor would not have not only would the Doctor have not survived the whole incident at I
wrote out my whole
but also that whole incident wouldn't have occurred because the only reason why he saved Gallifrey was because of Clara. Because Clara and Clara was and Clara was brought to the Doctor by Missy and
I wrote out my whole theory on time travel and how it works and on how if Missy hadn't done what she'd done, Clara, the Doctor would never have saved Gallifrey and thereby saved Missy. And ergo, there's an entire time paradox there where one event, where the two events don't have their own separate creations. They're not independent of each other. Okay, so should I just go ahead and read this theory on time travel that I wrote?
Sure.
Okay, so
Time travel and continuity in Doctor Who is entirely based on perception and perspective. The Doctor is able to do whatever he wants in the time stream as long as he doesn't know what's supposed to happen. He didn't know, say, that Agatha Christie had some weird adventure with a giant wasp, but he also didn't know for a fact that didn't happen. So no time paradox was created. Time was undoubtedly altered, but he didn't violate his own perception of reality, so the universe didn't care. Time Lords are genetically engineered soldiers of the Gallifreyan species. This is confirmed. My theory, they are specifically bred for time travel and to correct time paradoxes that could be caused by crossing their own time stream. Regeneration is a form of preservation, yes, but there isn't a preservatory purpose to completely remodeling the body and personality. And the purpose is actually to alter the individual enough so that if they were to cross their own time stream, odds are they would be with a different incarnation. So they would share knowledge, but as far as the timeline is concerned, they're separate individuals. And the Time Lord themselves, assuming they recognize each other, would, due to psychology, still perceive their other incarnation with a radically different appearance and personality to be a separate individual, even while consciously aware they are not. That's just how psychology works. We all view our past selves as different people. Time Lord genetics just makes that more literal to benefit time travel. Further ways Time Lord genetics benefit time travel, and I think this is confirmed somewhere, when an incarnation encounters a later incarnation of themselves, their recollection of events will blur more thoroughly after it is over than other memories, to prevent the bootstrap paradox that would be caused by the Time Lord encountering themselves later and knowing everything that's supposed to happen during the encounter. The TARDIS, in addition, is a paradox-free zone. Being a pocket dimension, it doesn't abide by normal temporal rules. The most often two identical copies of the same individual have encountered themselves in this series has been within the TARDIS, and it was never mentioned to be an issue during any of these events. Amy and Future Amy and the girl who waited were able to interact with each other safely because although they were technically the same person and looked vaguely similar, their personalities were so radically different that as far as the timeline was concerned, they're separate individuals. Father's Day is the only time in the series so far where two identical copies of the same person encounter each other outside of the TARDIS and violate their own perception of reality and time. And in the extreme circumstances where that actually happens, the universe gets very angry and summons Reapers to correct the paradox by eating it or whatever.
And that's it. So basically, as long as time is changed, but the people relevant to the situation don't know exactly what's being changed, the universe isn't going to care. But
you're trying to apply a logic though on something that has no logic. It just goes to however.
I view it as a puzzle. I view things like this as a puzzle to be solved. And if
well, in this point, it's less of a puzzle to be solved, and it's more of a paradox to be fixed. You're trying to find a way to that these obvious inconsistencies, and you're trying to build a canon around it that makes these things laws and not.
Frankly, this headcanon mostly does fill a lot of gaps in continuity. But at the same time, I understand this is this might actually
a futile gesture because eventually someone will come along and write something that will mess with it because the people writing it don't care about the overall
continuity.
Of
yes, they don't care. Well, obviously they care about some bits, but not all of them. Like the crabs from the episode Gridlock. Those were a classic series villain. They didn't need to be in there. They just were. So, obviously, they cared enough to bring them back. They were completely different from how they're portrayed in the classic series, and people were upset about that. But, clearly they at least give enough of a shit to feature classic series characters when they don't need to. But, yes, they... Basically headcanoning science, headcanoning the time travel of Doctor Who to science it helps me deal with things that make no sense. Unfortunately, there's always going to be shit that doesn't make sense in Doctor Who. But yeah, I loved this episode, even though the ending just so.
Which part of the ending was it the actual Gallifrey itself?
The fact that the Doctor was just in his confession dial, and that it was a plot to get him back on Gallifrey. That was actually my. Probably my favorite part of the I think it's best for the show in general, but I really would have liked it if this was just like a trap that had been specifically designed for the Doctor by just some unknown entity that wouldn't even come up again. Like, some things are best left unexplained, and this is one of them. Like the monster.
I think to me that would have been untold if to never learn who was responsible for that would not have gone over well.
Well, see, I think it would have actually made it a very good standalone episode, because if it had absolutely no bearing on continuity, on canon whatsoever, it just, yeah. But again, for the show in general, it gets the plot moving. The Doctor had to find Gallifrey somehow, and frankly, if Gallifrey can be reintroduced into the series in my favorite episode, then more power to it. More power to the show.
My biggest fear about this episode is it leaves off the suggestion that is that the Doctor is going to destroy Gallifrey and undo everything he did with in the 50th anniversary, which would be
No. Remember. Why does he have this face? He saves people. He's not going to destroy Gallifrey. I don't know how he's going to not destroy Gallifrey, because the tenth Doctor,
he's basically been in hell for 2 billion years.
The 10th Doctor seemed to want nothing more than for Gallifrey to never, ever, 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 ever return to the universe. Ever. I am just so.
Well, it wasn't just Gallifrey. Is he was talking about how the time lock, having the time would bring the entire time war.
I think that what's best is to just leave Gallifrey in the time lock, because okay, so like if Gallifrey could interact with the universe, with the real universe again, but just didn't have access to time travel anymore, that would be fine. Their entire society is based on time travel, so I think they need to remodel a bit. But yeah, I think yeah, penguins. Penguins is just a word I say. It's a fun word, but I should also note that Frobisher, the name of the other character that Peter Capaldi played in the Doctor Who continuity, Frobisher was also the name of a Doctor Who companion in the comic book and audio play series, where it's a shapeshifter whose default form is a penguin. So that's pretty neat.
So anyway, moving on to other topics now. I think we're done with Doctor Who now, aren't we?
I also had some notes here about Clara that I felt I should read because I'm not going to have another chance because she's dead now. Okay. Well, technically, she might not be because Time Lords don't really die conventionally, and there is a Clara that is a Time Lord, so let's see.
Clara has always been a representation of the show itself and the fan base. All of the dates in her journal shown in her first episode were significant air dates of the show. The crossed off years are the years the show is off air, and her most significant interaction with the Doctor was diving into his time stream to follow him throughout his entire life and playing a small part in all of his adventures. Her reaction to her first Doctor regenerating reflects the general reaction every new Doctor has from fans. And this episode makes Clara's purpose explicit by the Doctor literally referring to Clara as the audience and vice versa, while looking at and specifically saying that he is nothing without an audience while looking at the camera, and talking to himself or the audience throughout the episode, referring to Clara. Clara's ever-increasing arrogance over Series 9 has been a reflection of the audience's constant insistence that the show do what they want and nothing else. And her death possibly foreshadows the show will take more risks in the future, further indicating that yes, Capaldi will be leaving the show after next series for some reason, but we may be getting a female Doctor, because those are both things that wouldn't necessarily be popular choices, but are necessary for the show to continue being fresh. Okay, wait, no, now I'm getting back, wait, what? Oh, fuck, I formatted this wrong. Okay, yeah, okay, so I think that was it. Let's see, and now I have to erase my, time travel, theory.
Okay, I had 2 more notes here about Doctor Who, and then we can start talking about something else. Wow, this recording's gone on for an hour and 15 minutes. I do apologize. My anxiety medication has been working very well, and I've been very talkative lately, more than I usually.
Anxiety medication's been working well or not been?
It's been working well. Oh. So I'm yes, but let's see. My notes. I watched Jessica Jones, the Marvel show with David Tennant in it. I thought I could summarize my opinions to Jessica Jones on the podcast, but I really can't. What I can say is that Kilgrave is probably the best response to typecasting I have ever seen. So basically,
Kilgrave is if we want to talk about how Kilgrave is like is like the 10th Doctor, we should invite a bootleg girl on our show sometime.
Well, we'll bring her on for next episode if we can reach her and we can get that settled. Because next episode we're gonna have a lot of space to fill. In fact, I meant to actually read my time travel theory next week because we wouldn't have The Walking Dead to talk about. So I kind of fucked that up by reading it early.
Oops.
Yep. Oops. But yes. Anyway. Yeah, so the Purple Man, Kevin Kilgrave on Jessica Jones, he is basically the 10th Doctor. Like David Tennant he is the Doctor Victorious. The Time Lord Victorious. He is in full First Doctor mode. He is in full 10th Doctor mode, but like the Doctor during some of his more vicious moments.
He's the Time Lord Victorious. He's the 10th Doctor.
Yes.
He's the 10th Doctor after the Waters of Mars. If the whole event end of time, if the whole the Master's Return thing hadn't happened.
Yes, and it's perfect because like he is dressed like the Doctor throughout most of the series. He's wearing this nice purple suit. It's a very different color than we're used to seeing on the 10th Doctor. I don't think he ever wears this shade of bright purple, or it's not exactly bright, but it's a very loud color. I don't even know if loud is the right term, but he's acting just like the Doctor at his worst moments. He acts like he can do whatever he wants because he basically can.
He's the Time Lord Victorious.
And yeah, and see, the thing about this is that this is the perfect way to avoid typecasting because he's acting just like his most well-known role in a way that we never want to see him play this character again because this guy is just so terrifying. This character. He's also hands down Marvel's best villain because while the Kingpin was the best characterized villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Kilgrave is the best straight up villain because this guy is.
And also, there's also been a lot written about Kilgrave, about how Kilgrave very much reflects the internet culture, and particularly cis-men entitlement on internet culture and on women's
You know what? No, actually, because for some reason, for whatever reason, and that was what's in the notes here. That's what's in my notes here. This specific thing that I'm about to say. Kilgrave understands the concept of consent. Somehow, this guy who just says things and people do them. He'll just tell people things and they'll do them. And
he understands consent, but he doesn't abide by
But see, the thing is, I don't understand, because his powers are seen manifesting when he's a child, which means he somehow grew to understand the concept of consent without ever having to experience it. And it's very odd, and because also he does in fact try to abide by consent. There are several times in the show where he's intentionally trying to avoid using his powers. There's a scene where he's buying let me talk, because this is amazing. There's a scene where he's buying a house, and he's all like, well, you know what? You know what? I can make you do what I want, but I'm not. I'm trying to be nice. This is a bag of money. Give me this house. No, don't. Give me this house if you want to. And like the guy's all looking at the money. Is like, this is like several $1 million. This house is only worth like $6,000. I know, but I want it.
600,000.
600,000. You watched it, I assume.
No, I just know that that there's no way, shape, or form that a house is going to be $6,000.
Oh, I would love to live in a. I would love if I could buy a house with $6,000. But anyway, no.
Yes.
And also.
That would end our homeless crisis overnight.
Yes, but also most surprisingly is that Kilgrave actually does not want. There's actually a couple episodes where Kilgrave is trying to form a relationship with Jessica Jones without using his powers. Like, he suspects that Jessica isn't affected by his powers for whatever reason that's never really explained, but he doesn't know that for certain and doesn't really care about finding out. He just wants to see if Jessica can forgive him, and I choose to interpret that this is his attempt at trying to reform. There's even a moment where Jessica is all like, okay, fine, prove it. Prove to me that you want to change. Let's go. There's a terrorist attack happening on TV right now. Let's go there, and you use your powers to fix it. And you know what? They go, and he uses his powers to fix it. And he's thanked. He's shown gratitude. He's shown genuine consensual gratitude for the first time in his life, and he genuinely appreciates it. But he's acting like a smug asshole about it. So like, but yeah, he even gives a very well worded explanation to Jessica of how much he takes it seriously for her to consent to stuff. He's all like, you may come in if you please, or I fully swear to only make, because like he has to word himself carefully to avoid using his power. So like he's all like, I wholeheartedly swear to only make you do things that I know for a fact you consent to, because he sometimes just accidentally makes people do stuff. There's a scene where he tells his bodyguard to say hi Hank, and his bodyguard says hi Hank, and he says sorry, slipped up. There's also moments where he tells people to answer questions honestly the way they feel, because he understands that if he tells people to say things, they will say those things and not what he actually wants them to say. And like, it's.
Oh, I have not watched Jessica Jones.
Well, I just gave a big.
Hold on.
Sorry.
I've read a lot. Some people analyzing it, and analyzing why Kilgrave is very much an analog of the entire
I wish
male entitlement, CIS male entitlement on the internet right now.
I really wish he was, because there was actually genuine.
He is. The fact of the matter, from what I'm understanding, is he doesn't. I've heard from people. I've heard talking about how little he actually cares about.
He really
Jessica Jones.
He really doesn't care, but he seems to try to. Okay, apparently I set my alarm on 2 devices. Hold on, I wasn't expecting to be recording while the alarms went off when I set them. I thought it would be wrapped up by now.
But
anyway,
go ahead and turn it off.
Okay, so but see, I've seen some of the worst humanity has to offer, and I honestly don't feel like Kilgrave was the worst humanity has to offer. Kilgrave is horrible. Kilgrave, there's no way to skirt around it. Kilgrave was a rapist and a murderer and a horrible example of humanity, but he seemed to understand that he was a bad person and could be reformed if given the opportunity. It's just the opportunity doesn't come easily to somebody who makes people do what they want accidentally. So, like,
well, I'm not gonna.
So on it,
the point that people who I've heard talk about it have talked about how when you have this whole internet mob coming after you, literally anyone in public, anyone you're meeting in public could potentially be the enemy. Could be one of these. Could be one of these.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Could be one of these people, and with Kilgrave, as Jessica Jones tries to get away from him, the fact of the matter is that literally anyone, she can't tell anyone her secrets, because even her best friend would spill, even best friend and family would spill their secrets with the slightest provocation to Kilgrave. So literally anyone could be. She can't trust anyone. And I've had people who've been victims of internet hate campaigns say how Kilgrave is actually a very perfect analogy of these online hate movements. And how they affect their...
I can definitely say that the people under Kilgrave's influence are definitely an analog for internet hate mobs, but Kilgrave himself he seems to actually genuinely want to be a good person. He just doesn't know how and doesn't really want to put in the effort. Whereas internet harassers tend to really not want to be a good people. They don't want to put in the effort, but they don't.
Internet harassers are not. Hold on. Internet harassers are not always just the. There's also the X's that manipulate the internet harassers, who generally know more about what they're doing, and that's exactly why they're manipulating the people they do.
Again. Kilgrave seems to understand that he's a bad person and want to reform, but he's just bad at it, and is.
But at the same time, he doesn't. I mean, again, I haven't seen the show, but
right, you should, right. But what I'm basically saying is the worst villains in humanity don't want to be better. They don't consider themselves bad people. They don't want to improve. They don't think that there's any effort. They don't think there's any barrier of entry to be a good person. They just don't want to. Kilgrave does want to be a good person. He just doesn't want to put in the effort to be a good person. And that's the core difference between him and an actual villain, because real world human villains do not want to change. Kilgrave does. He's just bad at it. And like Kilgrave, I don't think Kilgrave was redeemable, but he wanted to be. He wasn't. You can't redeem a guy who rapes people. I'm sorry. It can't. You just can't. That's horrible. It's like serve your time, go to prison and wear a muzzle. Don't ever talk to anybody ever again. There, you've done your part. But like Kilgrave, sorry, it's got heavy.
But yeah, because I wanted to change the topic to something more lighthearted, and you've gone on.
Yeah, sorry.
The conversation that I really wanted to have if we have
the finale of Game Grumps Super Mario Galaxy playthrough, they accidentally described Shielda.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want to talk about the Game Grumps right now.
Oh, thank God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
There's a contest that the game. Well, I'm not sure if a contest, but they're doing a. Where they're going to be doing they're doing a Mario Maker Challenge, Hardcore Edition, where they want people to send them their hard levels.
Why?
Well, because that's what the but anyway, they don't want the levels to be too ridiculous or too frustrating, but they do want your hard levels.
Okay, so basically they don't want your levels to be too Ross-like. You want them to be actually difficult.
They want to be difficult, but they don't want these ridiculous, impossible challenges that are meant to be unbeatable.
Ross episodes, or this one episode that I think they were playing the same level for about 6 episodes. That one.
Yeah, they don't want it to be overly frustrating. But anyway, let me get to what is. So I have sent in a level design. one of my. I didn't design a level especially for them. I have a few, and I was trying to decide it, and I decided that I was going to send in my Ganon's Tower Wind Waker remake level.
I like this idea. Go for it.
Now, have I talked about that level on the show on this podcast before? Are you eating?
Sorry, I have corn chips. Should I move my microphone when I do this?
No, it's a. Have I discussed? I've eaten on the podcast before too. It's all right. So, have I discussed this level on this podcast?
You have mentioned the Mario Maker level, and I did ask you for the code for it, and I put it in the description of the episode.
But have I mentioned my Wind Waker level? I don't think I have I?
Rose, let me tell you something about my memory. I have
You don't have.
I have a piece of masking tape on my phone. It's got my phone number on it that I scribbled my phone number on because I would not be able to remember how to get my phone. There's a way to get your phone number off of a phone, but like I don't remember how. I can't remember how.
Okay.
I can do it. I just never remember how, and it's just easier. Just tape the phone number on my phone.
So you have no idea. Then I'm gonna guess. I don't think I've talked about this before. So anyway, I'm going to I'm going to read to you when I sent my level to Game Grumps. You have to send it in email. I added a blurb that gave a description for it. So I am going to read my description of the level.
Okay.
Ganon's Tower, Wind Waker. Return to Hyrule one final time on the eve of its destruction as you traverse the platforms and perils of Ganon's Tower from The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. This level lovingly recreates the areas of Ganon's Tower up to the fight with Phantom Ganon. Explore the treacherous sub-dungeons within the tower, overcome difficult bosses that obstruct your way, all to gain access to the way forward into the heart of Ganon's castle. Will Link survive, or will Hyrule once more be bathed in the light of the sun before being obscured forever in a blanket of darkness? Only you hold the answer.
I love it. Let me.
So anyway, but anyway, basically, it's Ganon's Tower from Wind Waker put into Mario Maker, and I actually went and looked at a Let's Play of the various areas of the tower, and went about finding ways to implement them in the game, which isn't difficult given the limitations of both of having a 2D setting and using the tools available. But I think I've managed to make
I like it, and I hope the Game Grumps do it.
But they are looking for difficult levels, and let me tell you, that final jump off of those that trampoline jump in the last one is really ridiculous. It is the final jump. If you can make it past that, and then not subsequently die to the Goomba, or I'm sorry, not the Goomba. If you can make it past that that pit, and then not immediately hit the Koopa Troopa that's waiting for you right across the chasm, if you can survive that bit, the rest of the level should be smooth sailing.
Please tell me that's near the end. Please.
Yeah, that's right. That's right at the end. That's the last.
I love you. Thank you so much.
What for having something right at the end that will frustrate you?
You're describing what sounds like a very calm and tranquil level with a really, really, really difficult thing at the end, and that's perfect for the Game Grumps. I can't.
Actually, it's the fact of the matter is it's not a tranquil. The first part in particular, because at the beginning you have to make a difficult series of jumps. And the third of which is in the boss chamber, or one of them which is in the boss chamber, which is supposed to represent Moldora, or is it Moldworm? Moldworm, the lava boss from Wind Waker. And as you know, in that one, basically, have you played Wind Waker?
When
Should I just let me just describe the boss, okay? So in this boss, you have this this one-eyed enemy. This one-eyed shelled insect enemy that pops out of the lava. There's lava in the middle of the room, in the middle of the inside of the volcano, and you're on a platform that circles the edge of the arena, and all in the center of it is lava. And above the boss is Valu's tail. That dangles down, and then during the boss fight, you have to use the grapple hook to grapple on the Valu's tail and swing across over the boss. And when you do that, it will pull Valu's tail. The Valu's the dragon on top of the volcano, and the pain from that will cause the Valu to bounce around and cause the rock ceiling to fall and damage the boss. And so to recreate that, I basically have you jump across this chasm to try to catch a vine that represents Valu's tail, and then from there you have to jump across it across to the next platform. And while you're doing these jumps, you've basically got a giant fiery Cheep, which is one of the fish monsters,
I know.
jumping around at you, which is meant to imitate the boss.
My beaver co-host Jonah. We call him Fishbill, and for some reason I headcanon him as a Cheep. I'm not sure why.
This is fine. But yeah. So I've got that. So that part becomes the getting through the lava area, and that becomes the first challenge. But then it the beginning part of the level is actually very difficult. I mean, you've got the series of jumps in the lava, and then once you get through there, you have to I don't consider the elevator portion of the of the forest temple that difficult. Although I don't expect you to. Basically, I've put a lot of there's a lot of power ups in this level because basically I meant to, because when you get hit you lose your Toon Link costume. So for the most part, getting hit from enemies is generally not going to be as big a threat as the falling. But in the Wind Temple, in the Forest Temple, because the elevator might be able to cross without getting hit. You might not. I don't know. But the difficult part at the end of the first half of the level is the representation of the plant boss, Kaledimos, I believe is pronunciation of it. And basically, you have 3 pipes. You've just got plants popping up everywhere trying to kill you. But let's just put it like that.
Yeah, I'm still here.
And so if you manage to make it past that, you will be treated to a checkpoint. Thank God for checkpoints. I've chosen to put the checkpoint
there was an episode of the Game Grumps where the entire episode is them installing the update. I don't know why. I don't know why that happened, but it did, and it was just so funny.
How long was
15 minutes, and for 10 minutes it was just them talking while installing the update
about how much they wanted checkpoints.
Well, they didn't know about it, so that was even funnier because honestly, the update was. This is such a significant update that, frankly, an entire episode about it was reasonable. But wow, they didn't even know about it. They just started recording, noticed they were recording an update, and just went with it. I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, the checkpoint one was very important, and because it checkpoints are there to temper for me. Okay, I design levels in Mario Maker. I do try to design levels that people will enjoy playing, but I also design levels that I enjoy playing. I can't imagine really what the point of a level that I don't enjoy that doesn't match my.
You have just described my problem with modern game design.
What?
A lot of game designers have no interest in the games they're making. Shigeru Miyamoto is not a gamer, but he gives a shit about the quality of his games. A lot of game designers don't, and it's deeply troubling to me because there are a lot of levels in Mario Maker that seem to be just thrown together, that people just threw shit at you. To some degree, I'm able to recognize a level where someone has put a certain level of effort into, and some levels do have some effort into them, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'll like them either. But one of the things I like is making levels as levels that feel like that they could be in a Mario game, and to do that, I've that means no
No, you start the level and you're immediately 2 seconds away from being hit by a fire rod, and you have to make it and you have to make an immediate jump, and then you have to make another immediate jump, otherwise the thwomp will land on you, and then you have to wall jump up a series of walls while Bowser's behind the wall spitting fire at you, and it's like, no, that would never appear in a Mario game.
When I say game design in relation to Mario Maker, I'm literally referring to all game design in general, not just Mario Maker, because a lot of video games are not designed by people who play games. And like, that's not necessarily a problem, because as I said, Shigeru Miyamoto is not a gamer. He doesn't play video games. Skyward Sword is the only game Shigeru Miyamoto has been involved with that he has explicitly stated he plays recreationally. But a lot of AAA video games are not made they're basically made as products, but in such a way that it is evident
cynically
that it's very cynical, because see, the way movies are made, you can tell that almost all movies are made to make a profit, but you can tell that a lot of filmmakers will actually just,
you can tell when there's love for the product or not in them. For example, Michael Bay's Transformers movies, not any love for the product, no respect for the continuity. This was a movie that was created just to make money.
Frankly, I would say that the presence of Bumblebee after years of Hasbro not owning the title indicated that somebody put effort into this somewhere, but I don't think it was Michael Bay. No. Like, somebody gave enough shit about the franchise to buy Hasbro back the rights to use the name Bumblebee, but I don't think it was Michael Bay.
But yeah, going back to Mario Maker, this level...
I don't know how we got to Transformers from Mario Maker, and I apologize. This is our worst episode ever, and I think it's my fault.
No, this isn't our worst episode.
Oh dear. Oh my god.
Basically, when I recommend this show to people, I say just watch episode 4. It's the only one you need. We don't know what we're doing. We're hoping we will find our way, though. We will find a way.
We will punch at that wall every couple of days
for
2 billion
until it comes down.
So that was basically what was happening. The doctor's cycle seemed to be like a couple of days to maybe a few weeks, and he would punch that wall approximately 3 times every couple of days for 2 billion years. And eventually it came down, and that's what we'll do. We are going to make this podcast good no matter how many centuries it takes. Hamburgers.
Or we die first, whichever comes first.
Oh yeah, we probably die first.
Yeah. But Mario Makers, in general, I mean, they don't. There are levels that I like, and some levels that I made aren't necessarily very Mario-esque. I mean, again, this level is one of them. But this Wind Waker level is one of them. But I try to but I do try to infuse some difficulty but my intention is to make the level playable, and that also means trying to gauge frustration.
Have you seen Iga's levels?
Iga?
The designer of the Castlevania games. He apparently has a Mario Maker account, and he's made some very Castlevania inspired Mario levels, and it's very trippy because they're both Mario and not Mario, and it's weird. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
You can't do that. I follow favorite on in my game. I follow a person who remakes Donkey Kong Country levels, and some people might say, well, what's so special about that? They're just copying. That's not. But to say that they're just copying would be a gross understatement, because they've had to figure out ways to represent the features in Donkey Kong Country and how to make it in such a way that it plays out in Mario Maker. And for example, in one of them, they have there's a level in Donkey Kong Country 3. I forget the name of it. I'm sorry. That has and it's one level. It's an element that only plays in one level. But there is this targeting reticule that appears on screen, and it will lock onto you, and you will have to stand behind in these special safe zones because after the icon finishes blinking, it will fire instantly at you, and if you're not behind one of those things, you will get hit and take damage.
Okay.
And so they have had to emulated this in a level, and they managed to emulate this in a way so that you have these things coming up out of the ground after you in these places. I forget how they did it. What did they use? Did they use
Limitation invokes creativity.
Yeah.
To
Was it bullet bills with fireballs? I don't remember what they did, but they managed to recreate a level like that in Mario Maker.
it doesn't really matter how they did it so much as that they did. In some
it's inspired. It's inspired. Is what
it may seem uncreative to just recreate a Donkey Kong level in a Mario game, but it is certainly not. It is certainly not uncreative because
you play this person's levels, and there's a reason why. Even though that all of their levels are based on Donkey Kong Country levels, they deserve every star they've gotten. And I'm sure after the show's done, I'm sure at some point before the show airs up, we'll have that person the link to that level. We'll have the level code at the bottom, and but when you see that, if you're watching to this point, if you're watching this point, you're still watching.
Well, first, I'm sorry. I am deeply.
We would deeply apologize for you wasting your time on our nonsense. And also, thank you. But if you are watching to this point, and you check out this person's level, which will be down there in the. Why am I motioning with my hands when I'm not?
I do a lot of hand acting during this podcast too. I think it's just human nature.
But down there at the bottom, before the comment section, and under the blurb, there will be a code for the that you can enter to view that level that I'm describing, and in the actual title that I can't think of right now will be there. But when you go there, remember that you can check that author's level. You can play that person's other levels, which are all based on Donkey Kong Country. It even lists the level name that they're based on, and it lists which of the three Donkey Kong Country games that they're from. Mm-hmm. Because they're all from the Super NES Donkey Kong countries, at least so far. And
I'll be sure not.
So once you've done that, people who are watching still, once you've entered that code, be sure to check out the other levels, and maybe give this person a fave and follow them along, because they periodically update it with add more levels, and all of these levels are winners. They're I mean, even the ones that you can't beat, and they're going to be, well, maybe you can. There are levels that I'm stuck on, and after dying a couple dozen times, I'm not thrilled around. But all of these levels are definitely worth their weight in gold. So do check this out, viewers. And
anyway, yes, I was going to say that it is honestly just as creative to take someone else's work and figure out how to make it work under the restrictions of someone else's work.
That could be creative.
Yes.
Too. Yes.
Like, for instance, this very bizarre spreadsheet that I'm making of all of the cards Yugi has been associated with in the anime. Mm-hmm. I'm putting I think the reason I'm putting this together is because I decided because Yugi is everyone who's a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh has pretty much come to the conclusion that Yugi is not actually very good at this card game. He just acts very confident, so you believe he is, but like this, it just doesn't work. But I'm actually thinking, what if I could make a good deck out of his cards? What if I could just figure out how to make all of the cards he's ever used and just make them work? So here we go. So yeah, I've got a card pool of about 900 cards so far. I'm gonna see if I can make something work with this, and that's just as creative as that deck that I've made that focuses on Troop Dragon and Penguin Soldier. I have an Exodia deck that focuses on Troop Dragon and Penguin Soldier. It's actually a beatdown deck. It's very, very confusing, but it kicks ass. I don't know how I made that work, but I did. So since how
about we call the episode here?
Yes, I would like to happily announce that I will be starting up a show, a show for discussion of Yu-Gi-Oh! I will be starting up a show about Yu-Gi-Oh! And not have to talk about it anymore on Time Cats.
And who will be in that show?
Probably just me. I'll tell you about it off air. So and but I don't want to tell anyone about it because I'm worried people will either tell me it's a stupid idea or will or they'll think it's a good idea and steal it. I'm very paranoid like that.
If for any viewer,
But
any viewer that's been sticking with us for all of these episodes, which I don't believe exists, but if there has, who've watched all of our episodes, I'm pretty sure all of them will agree that will agree that either one of us doing our own show or doing more shows would be a terrible idea.
yeah, yep. Well, I've been trying to start my own web show for years. I have been a fan of the Nostalgia Critic since before the year one anniversary, where his employees all got together and beat each other to death.
What?
Oh, for the year one anniversary of the Nostalgia Critic's website, his employees all got together and beat each other to death.
You're kidding.
No, they used the Super Smash Bros. Brawl theme song and everything.
Oh, so they did a skit where they fought each other to death.
Well, it was actually like a movie, like a movie. Oh, and the second year the second year anniversary they took over a small country, and according to Wikipedia, they were actually legally in charge of the country at the time. Anyway, so Time Cats, go! It's show overtime. We're not using that. That's not going to be our ending. That's not going to be how we end the show. Hamburgers.
And Xenoblade Chronicles will probably be out by the time that this episode is posted out. So I will probably be playing that. Thank you for your time.
Hamburgers.